Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Do us a huge favor. Smash that subscribe button. Helps the channel grow. Helps us get the word out. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us at Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Check us out also on Reddit and Discord. And don't forget, leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider. Almost didn't spit that out.
Yeah. I got distracted. There's a mosquito. I was like,
So it's
Benny?
like
And then I
you
was like,
seeing things over there or what? Yeah. At
squirrel.
least they didn't bite you. Not yet,
Also,
anyway.
shout out to our show sponsor, Fahrenheit Airbrushing. Stand out on the ice, pavement, field, or in the stands with a custom airbrush helmet, goalie, or any type of project. A local Manitoba business with affordable solutions. Check out Fahrenheit Airbrushing on Facebook or call them at 204-891-7431.
And the most important part, don't forget to tell them that Ray and Benny sent you.
Bombers getting out of Hamilton, squeezing by 14-13. Tragic game for Hamilton. Bo Levi Mitchell having to leave the game after a horrific in lower leg, looked like ankle injury that required surgery on a sack by Jake Srezna. And then not soon after that, your boy Zach Collaros goes out with a head injury on a blitz. So what is one word you describe to describe that Bomber win?
Yeah, shout out to Bo Levi. It was his ankle. Hopefully, speedy recovery. He's back in the game because that dude is. Yeah, we put him out to the pasture a few seasons ago, and he's playing some top level football. So we always need that in the CFL.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with ugly, just because the quarterback injuries and then the quarterback play that happened after those quarterback injuries wasn't the greatest. Elgersma, I'll give him some credit because he's new. He's just getting some reps. But Trey Ford and Jake Dogala, wow, that was some bad quarterbacking going on those sides. So I'm gonna go with ugly. Bombers got the job done when they needed it. They leaned on Brady Oliveira late in that game, which they probably should have done a little bit more, but they got the job done.
I'm gonna go with phew.
Yeah.
That's my word because they just got out of Hamilton with it. Uh, I can't say for sure that Hamilton would have won if Bo Levi Mitchell and Zach Collaros would have stayed in the game. Early score, crazy touchdown from Mitchell to
Lawler,
Lawler. Beautiful
great
grab.
catch. Fuck.
Again,
Yeah.
Moxie getting beaten on that one-on-one, right on his pocket, taken out of. So they got that. But then the Bombers defense actually started to look competitive.
Yeah.
So who knows what would have happened if both quarterbacks stayed healthy and stayed in the game. I think it still would have been a close game and still probably would have been decided by a field goal. So I'm not going to say the defense played well, but they played okay. And of course, like you mentioned, the Bombers committed to the run when they had to bring in Elgersma, which begs the question, why haven't they been doing that with Zach Collaros in the game in weeks 2, 3, 4? Or whatever, when they had to buy, if you know what I mean. They have to be committing to the run, and we've said that multiple times. I know I said that multiple times. Get the running game early, and we saw how Condell can also be creative with the running game, getting that nice pitch pass to Ontario Wilson, using motion and confusion and getting that running game open. Why isn't that being used earlier with whoever is quarterback? That's a thing. That's been the success of the Bombers when they've had their best years, is to be powered by a power running game. So I don't know why they're trying to veer away from that. They got to get back to that.
But they did do that yesterday too for a long stretch until that last drive. I think Brady got 7 carries on that last drive.
Yeah.
And he had about 10 going into that last drive. He ended up with 17 or so. And I think I can only remember 2 other runs earlier in that third quarter where he ended up getting a first down on back-to-back runs, and then they kept throwing. Like, you got to help out Elgersma out here and use Brady, use your best player on the field there, and help Elgersma open things up, right? And don't just rely on your last drive to get that guy going, but you got to get him going early, and especially in a game where your guy is getting hurt and you have to go to an inexperienced guy.
Well, that's the thing, and I'll get into it later with the O-line not looking steady with the pass blocking. Why not then use the running game to slow down the defensive line, to beat up on the defensive line? We'll get
It,
into that in
it's
a second.
yeah, it's funny. The O-line did seem better with Elgersma playing. I don't know if they were just like more alert or
Of
something,
course, it wakes you up.
but he never took any big hits. He took that 1 sack, and that was more on him. But he never took any big hits back there compared to the ones Zach was taking earlier.
No, that O line played great. And of course, the D line wasn't coming as hard because they're worried about the running game. And they're going to get their ass kicked by it. What grade are you going to give Taylor Elgersma? I'll give him a C plus. Didn't make any major mistakes. Clearly stuck to the playbook. So the coaches definitely had a muzzle on him, and I get it. Why take that risk when the other team also has their backups in? You know it's going to be a close game. You know it's going to be about field position. So why put him in any position where he's panicking and trying to force plays and making mistakes and maybe turning ball over? So I totally understand that. Everyone wants to see this guy's arm. We know it's incredible, but why put him in those bad positions, especially when the O line hasn't been pass protecting great for the majority of the year? So C plus.
I'm going to stick with the C's, but I'm going to give him a straight C. Like you said, decent appearance, showed some flashes, did make mistakes, and that was the biggest thing, right? You saw Trey Ford and Jake Dogala. I think it was Jake Dogala that ended up throwing the interception. Can't remember because they were switching them too much. But
Yeah,
he also Dietrich
Trey
Nichols
Ford.
probably should have had a pick six earlier. For some reason, they put Dogala in to throw one ball,
Yeah.
at the beginning of it all, and I don't understand what they were doing, but. So yeah, Elgersma played that well. He didn't make any mistakes besides that 1 sack. I think that was his worst play, kind of thing, right? So he made some throws. I got a question though, and it's like, why didn't you dress Drew Brown? This is a situation why you dress the guy. And with the way things went down yesterday, Drew Brown would have been more experienced than Trey Ford on the other side and Jake Dolgella. They probably put this game away a little bit easier. So it's interesting to me that they still wouldn't dress Drew Brown yesterday after trading a first for him. But I will give Kyle Walters a shutout because I was kind of questioning this trade. It's kind of worked out in their favor because Hamilton probably would have went after Drew Brown in this situation. But the Bombers got ahead of it, so we'll see what they do with it, and we'll see if Zach can play because it's a bit of a short week this week too. So
I also like how Elgersma looked calm in the pocket. There was no panic. There's a huge difference. Trey Ford was moving the pocket, never settled his feet. He definitely showed some maturity, efficiency over style with Taylor Elgersma.
I do say
Play,
one thing. Brady Oliveira mentioned, and I can't remember where I was reading this. That Taylor was excited. He was pumped up in the huddle and all of that, and they had to kind of tell him to calm down a couple times. But Tim White just like let him have fun. He's young, let him enjoy this kind of thing, and that's great to see. The Bombers were there to kind of support him, but
yeah,
also let him be himself too at the same time.
solid. He looks solid. Player of the game. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Major Williams. Made some good plays, ended up with the interception. He was picked on a lot, and I know he took an interference penalty, and Lawler made some catches on him. But for the most part, he was stout there. He made some great plays on the ball. Probably the best I've seen him, and especially the way Hamilton was kind of attacking him in that game. So I'm going to go with Major Williams.
I'll agree. I liked his effort. I like that he was around the ball a lot. I like that he plays a physical game. He's not scared to go up with receivers. I didn't mind that interference call. I was like, okay, you're playing defense, whatever. I'm good. I'll take that 9 out of 10 times, and you might not even get a call sometimes if it's closely contested like that. So yeah, I'm a fan of Major Williams. I think we talked about him last week.
Yeah, a little bit, but yeah, good to see him step out there. Tony Jones too. Yesterday had a great game.
Yeah,
He was more
of
noticeable. Made some
course.
great tackles yesterday.
Oh, Tony Jones. What were you most encouraged by, Bomber fans? Who do you have as your player of the game? And don't forget to smash that subscribe button, please. Helps the channel grow. What were you most encouraged by in the Bomber win? I'm going to say the running game once Elgersma entered the game. It showed and proved that you can lean on Brady Oliveira. And it helps the O-line get reps and momentum. Just use the running game earlier.
And more often. I'm gonna go with the defense. Like you did mention earlier, I mean, Bo Levi when he went out had about 230 yards of offense or passing yards before he left. But the D, besides that interception, quick interception and short field, and that, like you say, that crazy catch from Lawler, the D was holding them. They only had 13 points Hamilton when Bo Levi got hurt. So I like what I saw from the defense. And then when they came out, they completely shut down Jake Dogala and Trey Ford. Obviously, no
Oh
points
yeah,
scored by those guys.
they're horrible.
So I feel like they're coming into their own a little bit again, and it gets a little bit more pressure on that QB. But we talked about it. Tony Jones, I like the way he was playing yesterday. Evan Holm had a chance for an interception. Dietrich Nichols had a chance. Now those guys just got to finish those opportunities, right? And those are the game changers because Major Williams had his late in the game. But now those turnovers need to start coming for this defense. But I like what I saw from them yesterday, and hopefully they can build off that.
Not many Bomber fans complaining about Jordan Younger last week or this week.
No.
There's almost zero talk about Jordan Younger online. What concerned you the most about last night's game?
And this was still when Zach was still in there too. It's the offensive inconsistency. It was kind of missing there. Like first play of the game is an interception. Drives weren't really moving very much. We settled for field goals again instead of pushing downfield. And again, our only touchdown was the Elgersma one, which was a run, but a pass at the same time kind of thing. So I need to see a little bit more out of that offense, and they need to gel a little bit quicker. O-line had some rough moments, lack of use of Brady until they really needed to. So they just got to, and protection, obviously, by that O-line too, that got Zach hurt. So that's where I'm concerned still with this offense. Looking shaky, almost like it did last year.
It is the O-line. It is the O-line. We lost our starting quarterback, not just because of the O-line. There's also probably maybe a missed assignment by someone in the backfield by not catching that linebacker. But all in all, he was taking a pounding earlier on. Like, that O-line's got to figure it out. I don't know what it is. Like, Stanley Bryant even didn't look good early.
Yeah, he's had a few rough moments. And then on that play, I think you were talking about where Claros probably got hurt. I think Brady took the other side, so I think he may have handled his responsibility properly. But it's hard to know unless you know the actual play call. But they just got to get better, and they need Broxton and Stanley Bryant to step up.
Is there any consideration of Broxton playing left tackle?
Hey, man, I guess at some point you got to take a look at it. If Stanley Bryant is struggling there, I mean, you can always switch sides, but at the same time, I don't think the Bombers will do that anytime soon.
Loyalty, loyalty, loyalty.
Exactly. That is the thing.
Bomber fans, what do you think? Do you think it's time to maybe consider Broxton at left tackle? Don't forget to smash that subscribe button, help get the word out. What's your biggest takeaway from last night's game? Thank goodness Kyle Walters made the trade for Drew Brown. Even if Claros is good to go next week, we've seen this over the past couple seasons where our starting quarterback goes out due to injury. Even in the Grey Cup, if they had a competent backup, Zach Claros probably wouldn't have been there with a cut-up, jagged hand.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest takeaway. Thank goodness for that Kyle Walters trade. And who knows, maybe it might light a fire under Claros, knowing that, there's someone right there that's efficient as well and knows the playbook. If they dress him.
Yeah, that'll be the interesting thing coming into this week, right?
He's got to start this week. He's got to start if Zach Claros does not play. He's got to start.
Yeah.
Like, no disrespect to Elgersma, you definitely held the fort down, but this guy already knows Condell's playbook now. He's been with him for a couple seasons. Come on, there's the adjustment's not steep here.
So that adds to the other question is why didn't you dress him already? Because like you say, he was in Condell's offense. He knows most of these guys on offense. I know there's some new receivers there, but he should have been able to slip right in there and, and do what he can do.
That's why he starts this week. You got to start this week.
Yeah.
If Claros doesn't play, it makes no sense if Elgersma starts and he doesn't.
Yeah, it'll be definitely an interesting thing. I mean, they love what they saw from Elgersma, but yeah, like you say, you're not going to win very many games like that. Not being able to push the ball downfield, and the guy hasn't played in a year. Training camp's short. I mean, you don't get a lot of time for reps during the season because that's usually the starter, right? So we'll see.
In that case, then Drew Brown probably during training camp and preseason and the start of the season had just as many reps and snaps as Elgersma. Being back to Meyer.
Exactly, but he's been playing in the CFL now for a few years, right? But
That's why he should be starting.
oh yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you. Like I said, I like what I saw from Elgersma, but I don't think he's ready yet. And you need definitely a quarterback that can play. But Elgersma's got to be ready too, because Drew Brown is not the guy that can stay healthy either, right? So,
especially behind a bad offensive line.
yeah, he's had one in Ottawa for the last few years, even though they've made moves on that O line.
Horrible. They're horrible, and we'll talk about.
Imagine if the Bombers would have just kept their Canadian O linemen and paid them. We won't get back into that.
Yeah, then where would the other holes be? Because you ain't keeping everyone then.
Well, you can't pay 3 receivers that much money or a running back that much money also, but
yeah, exactly. There'd be a hole somewhere.
At least kept one of them then.
What's your biggest takeaway?
You know what? In the end, good teams find ways to win when they're not at their best. And right now, the Bombers are kind of there. They are a good team. They're still getting their feet wet into this season and kind of showing what they can do. But at the end of the day, they got the job done. And both their wins, really, so far this season, they've been close ones. But at the end of the day, they made that last drive to get the win and are 2-0 on the road, which is crazy. Actually, an 0-2 at home. But they got to get better, but they're getting the job done in some of these games.
I'm not going to take as much solace as you are in this one. Like, if they match up against Calgary again, fully healthy, I'm taking Calgary to win this one. And yeah, they beat Dolagala and Trey Ford.
Yeah, I get it, but they also beat him with their backup, who had never played in the CFL before either. So it's a team game. There's 3 phases to this football game.
Babel played pretty good returning punts.
Yes, player of the game, I guess, probably could have gone to him actually too, because those were some big plays. Yep. Obviously, the touchdown was scored off a big return, right?
Yeah, that goes off the field position that we were talking about that needed. Yeah. So that's why Elgersma wasn't exposed. Bomber fans, what are your thoughts of the Hamilton game? What's your biggest takeaway from last night's game? Don't forget, please help the channel grow. Smash that subscribe button. Let's move on to CFL Quickshots. What's going to happen first? The Stampeders get a new stadium or the CFL gets a 10th team? I think the Calgary Stadium thing is going to happen in the next year or two. There's like these little documentaries that are being made about the legacy of McMahon. I think that's going to motivate some kind of growth. And I can't see expansion happening within the next 5 years.
Well, I'm going to go with expansion because the movement on this stadium, I haven't seen these things, so maybe that's my issue then. But I was going to say, I haven't heard too much rumblings about a new stadium. And I know the arena is it almost done?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So is it opening this year?
Next season. Oh, yeah, this season. Yeah.
This is okay. So, yeah. So maybe we'll see after that. But yeah, I think we'll see how that stadium goes. But I think there's been more talk about possible expansion in the next little bit than actually that stadium.
Like, if there was like a possible owner, maybe I'd be like, yeah, expansion is happening in the next 5 years. But owner plus lack of facility.
I think there's facilities in some places in Quebec and even Kelowna kind of thing, right? And I know Kelowna probably won't work, but
I think the Rouge et Or facility would be great if they upgraded personally. But you also need an owner.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is even with attendance this year, like look at Hamilton, it wasn't full in that building, so you don't necessarily need anything bigger than 15 to 20,000. I know the CFL needs it, but the CFL, should be okay with that kind of range.
I don't think anyone cracked 20,000 this week.
That's terrible,
right? What should Hamilton do at quarterback? Sorry, what did you say?
No, I was going to say, the Bombers play at home this week, but it's the Toronto's home game, right?
Well, it doesn't matter. They're going to show up. They're going to crack 20,000.
Does that sellout streak count if it doesn't happen?
No. That doesn't count. What should Hamilton do at quarterback?
Listen, they brought in Trey Ford to be their number 2. They let Tyler Powell go. Otherwise, you should have kept him. Now you got to give Trey Ford the opportunity. But I know Milanovic did not like that scramble that he did yesterday, and he yanked him right away. So you had to thought something that Trey Ford was your guy because you went out and got him. So now you got to see what he can do because there's not a lot of options out there, in the backup trade market. So.
Yeah, unless you can somehow pry Taylor Powell away from the Elks, you go for the 2-quarterback system, I think, with a dedicated Trey Ford package.
Yeah, you can't be yanking these guys, though. You got to give them an opportunity, right? So,
but neither of them are very consistent. So why not try and use both of their strengths situationally?
Yeah. We'll see.
That's my thing. Who's the early front runner for MOP? I'm gonna go Justin Rankin. Dude's on pace for 2,900 yards, all-purpose and 18 touchdowns. Do I think he'll touch that? No, but that's a crazy start, and I think he'll still plow on ahead. And he didn't have a great game last week.
Oh, BC focused on him, and BC shut him down and made Elks Fajardo try to win that game, and unfortunately it didn't go his way. I'm going to go with Rankin as well. Like you say, those numbers right now are still very good, or look very good, and his numbers so far are good. That you can't put someone else ahead of him. I like the way Alexander and Trevor Harris have played, but yeah, Justin Rankin's the guy right now.
How many games is Ottawa going to win this season?
Let's go 4. I think that's a good amount.
I'm going with 2, both against Hamilton. Should this?
They only have 2 against Hamilton.
They have 2
only
left.
Play each other twice over there. Yeah,
they have one. They played once already. Should the Stampede Bowl be a rivalry game with one team, or continue to switch teams? I think it should be a rivalry game, and I think it should be Saskatchewan. They're the best traveled fans, and they bring an energy to McMahon Stadium or whatever stadium it will be.
I say keep rotating it. I kind of like, and I hope they go through every team once before they rotate back or go back to the same teams again. Kind of want to see where Calgary can go with this. They're 2-0 right now, and see if their streak can go on. They got their Labor Day game against the Elks as the rivalry game. So yeah, keep rotating it.
Can they beat everyone in the league?
Yeah, exactly.
There are 9 teams. Eventually, they will beat everyone in.
Can they beat them all in a row? That's the thing.
No, no. I'll put lots of money on saying nope. They will not. Hey, imagine if they go like 12-0 in the Stampede Bowl to start.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I mean, that's a story on itself, right?
There you go. Who will be the first team to beat
first? Exactly. Yeah.
With that ugly ass trophy. What is that? A horse's head? I don't know what that is. CFL fans, do you know what that trophy is? Take a look at it. CFL Quickshots. Answer those questions in the comments below, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Benny, you have anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and follow, and go Bombers go.
And in the words of LeVar Burton, we'll see you next time.
Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.